Get strong.
Not only are we talking Bleach, the 1,000-year-old blood war, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to say it live. This is my favorite show of the season so far. Not only that, I think it's right up there in my top 5 of the year. And right now, yes. And right now, Isaac, I'm in chapter 420 of Bleach. Because this is so good. I'm so pumped. I'm reading the books. I'm right now in the Lost Asian arc. So I'm very close to get to where the show is. And what I'm probably gonna do is I'm gonna read up till where the show is at. I'm gonna finish the first core, and then I'm gonna go back to reading and then just finish it. But man, what a great series Bleach is as a manga, as a show altogether. What I'm so surprised by is that Bleach is almost 100% filler free. I am so surprised how no filler is. There's almost no filler in the manga. I almost cannot believe it, especially with how much filler there is in the anime. But no, the manga's great. I'm reading it. I'm enjoying it. I'm living it, and I'm ready to talk. We are talking episode 6, The Fire, and we are talking episode 7, Born in the Dark. And no, that's not an Iron Maiden reference, but it definitely could be. So let's start with episode 6. Isaac, not change the mind. Isaac, episode 6, The Fire. This is a big episode for a lot of reasons. And I actually know some of the reasons now because, I'm reading the book. But Isaac.
Well, Taichikuba is kind of a legend.
Crazy with the no filler feat. Yes, Arcwinder, yes. Agreed. That was actually one of the best comments I've ever read in my life. The fact that Arcwinder's just dropping. Yeah, and it has 700 chapters, damn it. Well done. Now, Isaac, I know you've read it all.
A couple of times.
So I feel I have to guide the conversation so I can actually get you to talk and not say no comment, damn it.
No comment.
I hate you. But let's talk Bleach. I'm still digging the style, the intensity of the episodes. I mean, this feels like I love how not only did this new show, started the ground running, right? But every single episode, they're not letting go. Like this is just like story. It's heavy. It breaks your heart. It challenges you. And now that I'm reading the book, also it kind of like challenges everything I used to know or thought that I had hope. Like it's sucking the hope out of everything, but at the same time, the fire. To me, watching this episode after the big General Genryusai fight against Aizen, which I recently read, and watching this episode, holy shit, this guy, what a freaking king, first of all. But when you first read that he said Bankai, what did you think?
That this was going to be insane? Because he can he's how should I put it? He's always come across as insanely strong, and
Yeah.
so now seeing that it was just, oh shit, this is going to be wild.
Yep.
Kind of deal.
Yeah. It's one of the things that surprised me the most is, first off, what a great way to pick up from where the last episode left off, right? Where literally you have Car Wash. I'm calling him Car Wash. I don't know how to pronounce it. Yhwach, I think is what I gotta watch the English dub when it comes out. But I think this is going to be another Namor situation.
Yhwach.
Yhwach, yeah.
Jag
Even though,
tror det.
guys, I just want you to know the
Att han
proper
inte...
pronunciation is Namor. Period. Okay. Um, it's based on Spanish amor, and I'm not doing that. But so Ewok, so car wash. I love how it picks up directly from
Yhwach.
that cliffhanger. Yes,
If I'm not if my German
you're Yerman.
serves.
Yes, yes. I love how
Quincy's are basically inspired by German and in terms of language and
yeah,
Nazi
yeah,
German is
yeah. Everything that they do, especially like all their attacks, are literally German. They're written
Yeah.
in German and spread in German. Um, but this is like the closest thing to Third Reich, kind of, because they even have the word Reich in their name. Damn it. But and there's a particular attack that I'm going to talk to you about in episode 7 that just, or not attack, but ability that's very interesting. That's very telling, right? But so it picks up directly where the last episode dropped off, and it's literally Ewok choke holding a knocked out Kenpachi. Which, if anybody knows Kenpachi, is that this guy doesn't go down. Not only is he a Raging Bull, another one that I don't think we've ever seen his Bankai, at least up to this point, but he's just a force of nature. I think he's probably the closest thing to Genryusai, right? To Yamamoto.
Yeah.
In terms of being just raw power, only and simply being in a Shikai stage, right? So,
Yeah.
so the fact that Ewok is just choke holding him and he's knocked out, he's done. And the first thing he does is save Kenpachi. That's like, holy crap, Ewok's not playing. This guy is strong and ridiculous.
And have a great mustache.
Yes, like the best evil lair Lord Zed, like Moriarty mustache, right? Like very European. But I like the look. I like his laugh. I like the portrayal of Ewok. So I find him interesting. Now, what I found even more interesting is that the first thing wow, it's I can't believe I showed that comment. But so Yamamoto saves him, and then he literally, the first thing he does, he activates his Bankai. Which, again, for those that know, Yamamoto didn't even use his Bankai on Aizen. And the first thing he does when he's facing Yhwach is do the Bankai. And holy shit.
That Bankai is straight up horror movie. Horror.
Well, it has a horror element, but I like
Yeah.
how it has like the 4 dimensions, like north, south, east, west, and each of them has a particular ability. I like the whole thing about sucking all the fact that he gets wrapped up in this fire a la Power Ranger style, like he's surrounded in fire, spiritual pressure. He's like a living volcano. I love the fact that we were able to explore all these sides of that, but the fact that he encountered Yhwach and fights him with the Bankai, and Yhwach is low key kind of resisting, tells you right there that Yhwach is a very powerful character, very powerful presence. So only fitting for the new big bad, right? But can we talk about the action sequences of this episode? Because
It's
boy,
insane.
yes,
It's
yes.
extremely insane, and I know that people are going to be pissed about this, but I think seasonal-wise, it has these 2 episodes back to back has arguably been sure. I'm a bit Bleach biased, I will admit, but
I mean, Bleach for COVID. No,
yeah, but excuse me. that I think these two specifically back-to-back episode have been the best animated fight sequence in the entire season, or should I say, almost say, in a long ass time. Because I have had minor gripes with Pirot, City Pirot before, but my God, does these fight scenes deliver?
Yes, yes, and you know
There,
it's yeah. Go ahead.
it's it's. I don't really remember where I read it, but supposedly, according to the what's it called? What's it? So, supposedly, according to the Japanese voice actors of Rukia, Bleach wasn't cancelled uh, as many assumed. It was actually they waited for the manga to hurry up and finish. And this has sort of been like a passion project for Studio Pierrot, according to her. And the more I watch this, the more I'm just, yeah,
It
yeah,
it makes me think because correct me if I'm wrong. The first I know the original book started in the 2000s, and it went from 2000 to like 2006 or 13, something like that. It was like
yeah.
7, 8 years. I wonder if part of it being a passion project meant that Pierrot maybe made the decision to see how far animation is going to go to do proper justice to the final arc of Bleach. Because one of the things that I've noticed now, having been caught up with the chapters, is that first off, this is the most gruesome arc. I'm only 6 episodes in. Like this is like Infinity War, like have like heartbreaking heavy. It's bad, even better, I would say. But also the the animation for this. What I love the most about the fight scenes is that they feel like an extension of the intention of Kubo's drawings. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't feel like. I think that the most similar thing that I've seen in comparison to this. Now you have read Demon Slayer. I have not,
Yeah,
but the action sequences of Demon Slayer are legendary because
yeah.
they're phenomenal. I think this is a great. I think it's like they took lessons from everything because you can definitely see because you know how with Dragon Ball, at least Dragon Ball Z, right? Towards the end of Dragon
Mm,
Ball Z's original run, right? It got to a point where every battle kind of looked the same. Even at
mhm.
times, it feels like they're reusing animation.
I haven't seen the original Dragon Ball for quite some time, so I can't
But what I mean is like
completely.
every fight
But
feels
I cannot.
similar.
But knowing how Toei animation was back in the day, yeah, I can believe that.
But this feels fresh. It feels like this is occurring in an actual world, in an actual setting. Like when they get on the roof of those barracks and they're fighting like with the tiles and then they go to the other side and they're moving around like it feels epic. It feels phenomenal and crazy. Like it really gripped me to my seat. It was the longest 24 minutes of my life because I was living every second of it during that entire battle scene. And every time, and even at the, and you got to think about this. Isaac, a great deal of this episode is exposition.
Yeah.
It's not even like profound story. It's literally General Yamamoto giving us a class like, "Hey guys, this is my Bankai." like like that's literally what's happening. I mean, you can tell that there's history between these two people. Like they fought before. Like we knew this because we know that Kuratsuchi was kind of like yelling at the general like 2 chapters ago. Like it's you're the reason that he's still alive because you never took him out when you could.
And yeah, that haunted him
Yeah,
since then.
yeah. But I found it so powerful how all the different varieties, all this exposition leads up to the final moments of this chapter, right?
You
Because
mean episode?
up to this point, Ichigo is still trapped in traffic. He hasn't arrived to the Soul Society. That's kind of like the cliffhanger at the end of the episode, right? That he finally makes it there.
Yeah.
But the big twist is that the reason why we spent all this time and all this exposition about Yamamoto's Bankai was because the person that he's been fighting has not been Yhwach. Because as soon as he takes him out with Zombie Land Bankai, which by the way, that's so gruesome and so horrible. Which kind of makes
resurrect everyone that he has killed. They just
yes,
and
that is
have them
nuts.
killing him.
That's like a very Naruto move, right?
I wouldn't
First,
call it that. Naruto.
but you know what I mean, like
horror,
resurrection,
but
like resurrection jutsu, kind of like
I
our
would
army's
say
gonna
that
be.
This was more horror.
Yes, no, I agree 100%. But the reason I bring Naruto up is not just because of the resurrection jutsu, but like, is it just me or does Tite Kubo love the substitution jutsu? Because this is the second time that it happens in the series. Like,
I mean,
do you remember the first one?
Oh, yeah. I guess what you mean.
Which again was a big one, right? And they all had to do with the big bets. Like the first one, for those that haven't read, spoilers of the manga, that's like I don't know, like almost 20 years old. But all the captains are attacking Aizen, and they stab him, and then they find out that no, Aizen had hypnotized everybody, and they were all literally killing him and Mori, and the only one that knew what was happening was Ichigo, which was again, that was one of those twists that I was like, holy. But
You
the
know
fact
that, dude, I swear in this show all the time. You don't have to worry about it.
I'm not worried. I'm just, fuck. So, but at the end of the episode, at the end of the battle, he has this guy. He literally cuts a piece of Yhwach's stomach, very similar to what happened to the characters. But suddenly, this guy that's dressed as Yhwach is saying, "I failed you, master. I couldn't, whatever." And Yamamoto already is cashing on what's happening, and then we find out that he has not been fighting Yhwach. He's just been fighting another Stern Ritter dressed as Yhwach. And here's the crazy thing. The crazy thing is not that he hasn't been fighting Yhwach. The crazy thing is that this guy was able to resist Yamamoto's Bankai. And he's not Yhwach.
Yeah.
Like, are we like... By the way, that guy's dead now. So, but he was able to kind of like withstand most of everything that Yamamoto was doing. And no, like, the reason that wasn't Yhwach was hanging... Because Yhwach was apparently having a cup of coffee with Aizen. Because, of course, we're going to bring Aizen back for the final arc.
Aizen, aka one of the best Shonen Jump villains of all time.
Yes, I have to low key agree though, but it's a mixture. I have mixed feelings because he's either sometimes he's like the greatest villain, and on the other side, he's just another wimpy little bitch that just didn't get his way. It's like a mixture of feelings. Like,
honestly, Kyle Herbert's work as Aizen is I'm sort of like I could care less if dub or sub, but his work as him is close to why I honestly prefer the dub for Bleach. Actually,
nice.
If I'm not mistaken, he even got an award for his work as Aizen.
I mean, I'm not surprised. I mean, Aizen was a very big character, and I think it's a very, very bold move to bring him back in some fashion for this arc, because he's a screen hog. Like he's a presence. You know, he's one of those characters. Like for example, when anybody sees Kenpachi, forget everybody else. We're paying attention to Kenpachi. You know what I mean? Like, so bringing Aizen back in the fold, and the fact that Yhwach was trying to recruit him, and Aizen says, "Nah, I'm good." that was that was priceless, and that's one of those moments that Aizen got my respect. You know what I mean? Like, hey man, I was almost a god. I don't, and you're probably gonna get beaten at some point. So I just want you to know, I don't need to follow you. I'm good.
He's too narcissistic to join in, and
Yep. Yep. I mean, he's been sitting in this cell for like I don't know, like probably. Well, time is different in Soul Society, but I don't know. But he has a sentence of 20,000 years just because he irritated the 46. So that's amazing. And he's just chilling there. It's like, hey man, I'm good. I'll stay here. Like I like how he's just not like if it's not by his own power. Like I like that he has that kind of integrity, and that still kind of makes him a badass. So 1 point for Aizen. But of course, but not only the whole exposition, he was having tea with Aizen. Yhwach actually comes out, and Isaac, what the fuck happens? Tell us what happens when Yhwach arrives.
well, the headmaster gets essentially sliced in two.
Well, before that,
Or what they are talking? What are you talking about specifically?
okay. So yes,
I'm
Yamamoto is murdered by Yhwach, but after his fucking Bankai is stolen, like
yeah, and Yhwach is the only one that can handle it.
yo, see, that's the kind of true, true. I think Aizen just gives himself pats on the back if he gets to piss people off. I think he's good with that. he's that friend. Like, I just piss people off. I'm good. Just to not give people what they want because he's not getting what he's want, right? But yeah, like I find it so what a clever storytelling tool, right? That we're watching one of the biggest characters in the entire series do this incredible thing and explain his powers, but not because he's going to be victorious, but because he's going to brutally lose, and that power will now belong to the big bad.
Which is not good whatsoever.
No, no. So a big bad that we already fear because of how he is just killing everybody. Now we have, he stole the Bankai from the strongest Soul Reaper currently in Soul Society, if I'm going to say it that way, right?
Check the chat, by the way.
And then suddenly, and then suddenly, and then suddenly, they call on the rest of their armies. Soldat, which are with a soldado or soldiers. Bro, and then it gets even worse. I love the shot, the up shot where it's kind of literally all the soldiers of the Waldenreich are running around the entire Soul Society, and all you see is people dying and their heads cut off and all that stuff. That is brutal. It's brutal. It is so brutal, bro. I was brokenhearted. I wanted to. I mean, I didn't cry, but I was broken, bro. Like it was bad.
To argue this, I will go so far to say that this arc almost makes Attack on Titan look lighthearted when it's brutality. And no,
Yeah.
I'm not joking there.
Yeah, and I think this has to do also because this is not just monster on human violence, which is what Attack on Titan mostly appears to be, right? This is deliberate violence. It's genocide. I mean, what's happening? and we're meant to feel the weight of how horrible this is and how horrible this feels. You know what I mean? Like we're just meant to feel the weight of how bad this is, and it drives me crazy. It drives me crazy, and I mean I love the show for it, and what a great way of doing it in a way that just it's so impactful and so arsty.
Agreed.
um,
It's Tite Kubo's a legend for a good reason.
yeah, yeah. Like I respect the man. He did a phenomenal job, and and the fact that we have to live with the fact that Ishigo arrives late. So at the beginning of episode 7,
And boy, is he pissed.
yeah, but it's not even so let's start with this. So Ishigo arrives and everything that's happening in Soul Society is happening, right? And Ichigo gets here, he grabs Kurotsushi's like second in command or whatever, and tries to take him to a place where he can be healed, while the Soul Society soldiers are still killing everybody, right? Because that's still happening. But Ichigo gets there, and the first person that he goes to see. Oh no! By the way, let's go back to the final shot of episode 6, which was heartbreaking. Is Ichigo in the prison and he's sensing all the spiritual pressures disappearing.
Yeah, and
Yo.
which makes just you can argue that it's sort of like a I don't know what analogy I was going to go there, but it's sort of like it's sort of like you know that someone is on the operation table and they are only surviving if you get there.
Yep. Yep. It's just it's horrible. And the fact that he has to be the one to witness all that and
I mean, he's kind of overpowered in his own show, so it makes sense why they are desperate for him to arrive.
yeah.
Although overpowered to some extent.
Yeah. Like he's not the ultimate fighter, but I get what you mean, man. But yeah, it's heartbreaking the fact that he can't do anything. And it's interesting because it, I think that's what we have seen multiple times. That is Ichigo's kind of kryptonite in a way. The way you break Ichigo's spirit is by putting him in a position where he can't help. That's
Exactly.
that's kind of what breaks him. And we've seen it multiple times. And the fact that he's back here doing this until he finally is able to break the jail from Stern Ritter J, Quilgi, or whatever his name was. It was horrible. It was horrible. And then when he arrives, he's hearing all this death. He knows that a lot of people are died. He needs to go face this guy. And the first person that he goes to see after seeing Renji down and everybody else, he goes to see Byakuya. And what I
And
thought,
he and Byakuya hasn't always been in good terms. That's for certain.
well, the funny thing is, I wouldn't say that they've been in bad terms or not been in good terms. I think it has to do a little bit with what Yhwach was kind of like accusing Yamamoto with after he killed him, which is like you got weak because you didn't want to get humans involved. You didn't want to ask each. You know what I mean? Like he wanted to keep Soul Society's business, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of like what Byakuya wanted to do too. But also Byakuya comes from a noble house, so he has had to grow to the fact to respect Ichigo's power and position. Because I still remember right before Ichigo returns to the Soul Society, or returns to Karakura Town after leaving Hueco Mundo, right after defeating Ukiura. Like Ichigo doesn't know what to do, whether to leave or help. He wanted to stay, help fight Yami, and Byakuya says, "No, Your job is to be the deputy Soul Reaper of Karakura Town. So you got to go defend it. So that's like one of those moments where you can kind of see that he doesn't he respects Ichigo, but he kind of doesn't want to give him too much acknowledgement, right? Because he
He's
still
too
has to,
prideful for that.
right. Which again, it's built into the character. But now the fact that he recognizes, not that he speaks more clearly to Ichigo now, but with his dying breath. Like, I mean, if we thought losing Yamamoto was enough, like, I was not expecting us to lose Byakuya, bro. I mean, they may come up with something and say, "Hey, we were able to save him" or whatever, possibly. But they made it. Shut up. But they
Never.
but they made it seem like he was. You know what I mean? And it hits you hard to then see him face Yhwach and literally get his ass kicked, because he got his ass kicked to the point that Yhwach is gonna kill him. Like what a way. Like, if the purpose of this first core was to allow us to understand how much of a threat Yhwach is, guys, you have done your job. Like, it is crazy. It is crazy how amazing the world building has been, and the presentation of Yhwach and the Waldenreich as the ultimate villain. Because after reading what I've read, do you agree that they really are putting them like the ultimate villain? Because
Yeah.
even Aizen didn't destroy Soul Society to the point that Yhwach has done in 5 episodes.
No.
You know, because Aizen also, that wasn't his goal. Like, Aizen's goal was to rule, wasn't to destroy. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and he wanted to become more. He wanted to become a god more than anything else.
Which, by the way, I find it very interesting how the entirety of that like, I don't know if you remember, but that last big chunk of Aizen as he ascends, it's called deicide, like killing God, and it's literally like killing, and there's like 20 parts. Super interesting. I love this one by Arcwinder, the anime producer. How much more pain can we put in the show? By the way, everything was that other producer Gary Oldman, because that's what it sounds like. Everyone. The Professional is such a good movie. But yeah, man, that's literally what happens. What was that?
Isn't that the name of that movie Leon?
So in Europe is known as Leon and the Professional. In the States, it's just the Professional.
Okay.
They take
that
off
makes
Leon.
sense.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, because John Reno is a French actor, correct?
He is.
Yeah. But yeah, they literally put.
Yeah.
Hey, Arcwinder, we agree. These are comments you can hear. Those are the best comments. But yeah, it's been crazy how much pain and suffering we've put everyone through, and as anime viewers that love Ichigo as a hero, to see him break this way, it's crazy. So, what an interesting thing happens. Which again, here's the big twist, right? Like, I don't know why, but every twist that they've delivered on the show, like, every episode has a twist, and all of them have, and all of them, yes, and all of them have delivered, because I've been satisfied with every twist that we've seen.
And
it frightens all of us, Argwinder. I know it frightens you. It frightens all of us.
And it kind of also is kind of funny with a twist, considering one of your earlier comments. I can't recall what episode, when you talk about the look of his of Ichigo's Bankai, considering what you get
Yeah,
to knowledge
yeah,
of.
yeah. That Ewok looks like Old Man Sangetsu, which is the inner being inside of Ichigo's Shikai Sanpakuto. So it's crazy the relation. And now, before we go into that, Isaac, the biggest thing that happened, which by the way, it's a double meaning, but as soon as Ewok is about to literally cut Ichigo's head off, what happens?
His Quincy ability activates.
Which, first of all, what the? But at the same time, it's like, wait a minute, Ichigo has powers from everybody, so I am not surprised that he has Quincy powers now. But what I loved about it is, did you take the double meaning of that ability in particular? Do you understand it?
Are you talking about the name, or are you talking about the general gist of that attack?
Both. Well, actually, both.
No, I did not.
So,
I
so
will
if you
admit.
so if you remember, who in history, blue bloods is what people would call royalty.
Yeah.
So if you were blue blooded, is because you were part of the royal family. So it makes
Oh,
sense. Yes.
I'm. I see where you're going with this.
So it makes sense that if they see themselves as the superior race or Reich or whatever, their blood is blue. That ability is called blue vein. So not only is that ability the blue vein that protects them, like their rank of being superior, just for the fact that they're superior, they're protected by it. That's kind of like the weird, which again, it's creepy, but super interesting that it's used that way. But when it comes to Ichigo, of course, it talks about his genealogy, and not only does that surprise Ewok, but it also makes him question Ichigo. Do you not know anything about yourself? And that is very interesting because for those that have read the book, I haven't caught up to where the show is at right now, but I'm very close. But Ichigo became a Soul Reaper through Rukia, but we know that his mom was attacked by Hollow and killed by Hollow, and all those things and all these abilities he's always had have been manifesting little by little. We never really understand why he has Hollow powers because they have not explained that. Not even up to this point where I'm at, they haven't explained it. But one of the things that I find interesting is what Ewok was saying is that apparently Ishigo's spiritual pressure has memories and has abilities to adapt, which makes sense because it's like he's a sponge of spiritual energy, kind of. And he can mimic and acquire from everything around him, which explains everything that Aizen had said before, which I find is so interesting. Now I want to see Ishigo talks to Aizen. Because if anybody has answers, is Aizen maybe. But yeah, I find this so interesting and so brilliant. So I don't know. I think kind of not only does he call him my son born in the dark, which by the way, holy fuck if he's related to Ishigo. But I think what we're being led to believe is that Ewok is Ishigo's grandfather. But
No
I don't,
comment.
I shut up, Isaac.
Never.
But yeah, I mean, again, what a great twist. And Isaac, when you read this for the first time, if that's the case, you're not going to tell us, but if that's the case, when you read this for the first time, did it surprise you, the connection? Did you find it like a good direction? Because I have a very specific thought about that. What are your thoughts so far on that?
Well, first of all, no, I wasn't that surprised because, like you say, he's basically a SpongeBob of superpowers kind of deal. So it makes sense that he also, in some essence, have Quincy powers also.
But does it surprise you the connection to Ewok?
No, no, not really. Because Taito Kubo loves to tie everything together.
Yeah. And what I find interesting about this from a story standpoint, right? We've seen him. We know he has. I don't know if he has hollow powers still. I don't know. I haven't read enough to know, but he has. He had holification. He had Bankai as a Soul Reaper. Um, he was able to get his powers back. I know that. But now he also has Quincy powers, so he's like a triple threat, right? But the interesting thing is that the only way that would make sense is if his mom was a Quincy, which what makes me think about that is that he is the son of a Quincy and a Soul Reaper, which is like very Games of Thrones, very interesting. Which I would imagine is kind of like forbidden because you got to think about the fact that if they were at war for the longest time, Quincy's and Soul Reapers do not get along. It would make sense that Ishigo's mom and dad, if his mom is a Quincy and his dad is Soul Reaper, would not be accepted to be together. I mean, it's only logical, right?
Yeah, without a doubt.
But what I find interesting about this arc more than anything is that think about this. I'm going to ask you this question as someone that has read Bleach multiple times. I've seen I've read the manga. Those in the chat, Arcwinder, everybody out there, I have this question. I want to know what you guys think. I find it interesting that Yhwach appears to have a very personal connection to Ichigo because if you really look at all the villains that Ichigo fights, he's never had a personal enemy. He's been the hero, and he's protected Soul Society.
I would argue that Aizen is kind of personal.
But that's the thing. He didn't have a personal gripe against Ichigo or a personal connection towards Ichigo. Aizen was just a dick to everybody. And Ichigo was just the one.
Fair point.
Yeah, Ichigo was just the one that had the power and the ability to beat him. You know? But if Yhwach has a personal relationship, now Ichigo. And remember, every time Ichigo will go into action, he's trying to save someone else. Like in the beginning, he's trying to save Rukia. Towards later, he's just becoming a better Soul Reaper. Then he goes against Aizen because he's trying to protect Orihime. Then he leads Wakamundo to Kurakura Town because now he has to protect Karakura Town from Aizen. So these are things that are external motivations, not something that has to do with who he is, like your personal identity thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I like that to close out shop, right? Like the final villain of the series is someone that's directly intrinsically related to Ichigo. So he has a personal villain, someone that he has to take down or learn from or deal with that affects every fiber of who he is. Which when you think about it, it's supposed to be a shonen. So it's all about coming of age and growing. What a great way of forcing a character like Ichigo to grow than to having him fight to find out who he is and who he needs to be. And this is not something as simple as fighting Tensa Sangetsu and you know what I mean? Like all those internal fights with him and his hollow self and all that stuff. That's part of it. But now it's external. It's an actual being that exists that is doing all these atrocities and apparently he's somewhat related to this person. Which is horrifying. Oh, and by the way, I want to ask you a question, and I don't want you to say no comment. I want you to say yes or no. Am I the only one that noticed that in the final show of all the Quincy Sternritters, Uryu is in there with them?
Maybe.
I hate you.
I love you too. But can we also? I think you missed a key thing that this episode started rather differently in comparison to all the other episode, where
You
we
mean
can
that
see an.
you mean that it started like in a first person shot?
I was talking about the intro with the former Gote 13 that defeated the Quincy.
Oh yeah. Yes. Yes. Yeah, I remember that. I remember that. I
Yeah,
do.
and
I do remember that.
it it just showed that there was a. It was honestly kind of a the mentality in the Soul Society is a lot different in
Yeah.
comparison to previously.
And it's interesting because it's the arc is called the Thousand Year Blood War, right?
Yeah,
But the interesting thing is that the last war was 1,000 years ago. But in those 1,000 years, General Yamamoto actually learned and taught peace, and he allowed Soul Society to progress to different areas, right? It's like Yamamoto moved on from war, but Yhwach has just been plotting for 1,000 years, which is kind of like, I mean, perfect villain kind of, but it's
he has
sad too.
a good sense of what's it called? Uh, no, I lost my.
Direction, cause,
No,
vision,
no. He has the energy. He's able to wait.
patience.
Patience. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah. Ah, man, this is awesome. I can't wait to read more Bleach, and I can't wait to keep watching this show. Um, guys, that's our coverage. Isaac, do you have anything else on these last two episodes?
Nothing more than I love this show and Studio Pirate. You have truly, truly made me. You show that you can do much more than just well what you have shown earlier with some of the Naruto and Bleach. No, sorry, and earlier Bleach and two I haven't followed, but from what I've seen, Boruto. So you can do so much more.
Yeah. No,
Just
don't hate on Boruto. Let it go. We're talking
I
good
will
things, not
always
bad
say,
things.
fine. But yeah, it just showed that Pirate can do so much more than just some simple animation kind of
Right.
deal.
Right.
The first fight between Yhwach and Ichigo was insane.
Yes. Yeah. That, and I love how. Also, last thing before we.
I
Yes.
mean,
Argwinder says, for those that are listening on the pod, get me onto an episode and I'll talk for 4 hours if you want.
yeah,
Yes. Hey,
when
we
the
got to
season
we got to
five,
make that happen. We got to make that happen, Argwinder. We
when
will.
well, we said when season 5 of My Hero ended,
Season
so
6.
season 6, sorry.
Yeah. Now, I love that you mentioned the whole Ichigo Ewok fight. Can we talk about one of the most interesting things that Studio Pierrot is using in Bleach? That I'm gonna be honest. Again, I feel it's another note from Demon Slayer, but of course they're not copying Demon Slayer. They're doing it on their own terms. But can we talk about the use of color in this show? Because the use of color is very deliberate and very particular.
It was very
How
stylistic.
yes. Yes, like the way the blue vein and all the Quincy powers look, very shiny, very bright, very blue and like meticulous. It feels like a beam of literally feels like a beam of light. A lot more developed than what we used to see in the past, right? The fire, the shades of red and black in darkness. Whenever Ewok and Ichigo were fighting and they were moving around a la Super Saiyan style, the shocks of red, black, and blue and black, like all those different swings. Like there's a lot of stuff in it, and it's funny because you can enjoy it even on the intro, like that interesting use of pink, black, and white, and how they interact those to create that world that we see throughout the entire intro. That intro really only has those three colors,
Yeah.
and but
Honestly,
it feels dramatic and beautiful.
it kind of stylistically made me think of Sin City. Honestly.
Of what? Oh yes, yes, yes. Where everything's black and white, but it feels like there's so many other colors in there. Yeah, I know what you mean. And whenever like the yellow comes out, it's like it stands out very particularly. And it's like grainy or
Exactly.
whatever. Yeah. I don't know. Studio PR is doing an amazing job. I love everything that I'm watching. I can't wait to watch part of the dub to see what's going on there. I want to hear. I kind of want to listen now to Yhwach's voiceover work to see who's doing the voice. Um, and I can't wait. When did the dub already come out? I think they're in episode
It has,
3, right?
it has started. Yes, I can't recall
Yeah.
what episode it's on.
Yeah. So guys, do you have anything else on Bleach, Isaac?
No, not what I can remember. Or should I remember? I can think of currently.
Awesome. So, guys, that is our coverage of Bleach, the Thousand Year Blood War. We covered episode 6, The Fire, and episode 7, Born in the Dark. This show just keeps getting better, better, and better. We are going to have a new. I know that they're showing episode 8 tomorrow, Monday, and then the week after, we don't get an episode, and then we get 2 episodes in a row, right?
Yep.
I love it. Love it, love it, love it. But yeah, there's more Bleach coming, guys. As Bleach episodes continue to come out, we're going to keep covering them. We will return with our coverage of Bleach, the Thousand Year Old Blood War, in 2 weeks. It'll only be 1 episode, but we're still covering Bleach because there's a lot to talk
Ha
about.
ha, Mike. Ha ha, Nathan.
What happened? Funny
Funny
thing.
thing.
Arcwinder
everything-
says, funny thing, every time you said Ewok's name, I'm reminded of Star Wars. Okay, I love how you know what? It's either that or car wash. Car wash sounds perfect to me. That's all I say. But yeah, these are the coverage of Bleach Thousand Year Blood War. If you love what we're doing, make sure to click on that like button, subscribe, and click on the bell for notifications so you don't miss any coverage, any conversations on Bleach, the Thousand Year Blood War. It's an amazing, amazing show. And it's perfect for new fans and old fans of Bleach. Make sure that if you want to listen to us also on the road, go to Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, where all podcasts are found. If you love what we do, give us a 5-star review so other people can enjoy what we do here and this community of as awesome anime-loving people grows. We will see you in 2 weeks with more Bleach and Chainsaw Man coverage. So make sure to stay tuned and stay tuned to and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss anything and any coverage. Now, we will see you later. If you have not seen Chainsaw Man, this is the moment to walk out. We are going to cover the topic first, and then we're going to go to Chainsaw Man. So if you want to hang out for the topic, stay for that. We're going to take a brief 60-second break, and we're going to jump right into that topic. For those stepping out now, thank you for joining us. You guys are awesome. We will see you next time at the Sarate. Peace.